Good evening. Wallaby officials are gathering evidence to appeal Tatafu's two-match suspension. The flanker was banned for his fighting response to Irish provocation in Monday's match. But the Australians believe he's been too harshly treated and desperately want him back for the expected quarter-final clash against Wales.
Leaving London with a win and a loss. For Daniel Herbert, a sigh of relief, but for teammate Tatafu, bitter disappointment.
If someone throws, starts a fight with you and throws a couple of punches, you just can't stand there and put your hands up in there. You have to defend yourself.
The Tongan-born number 8 was hauled before the World Cup's disciplinary tribunal after he stoushed with Ireland's Trevor Brennan. Brennan still bearing the battle scars, and Kefu were found guilty of punching. Both will miss 2 matches. Kefu's suspension will leave the Wallabies without their most explosive ball running forward for the quarter-final. Daniel Herbert's charge of making a dangerous tackle was thrown out after a hearing lasting 90 seconds.
Well, I think the guy side of me must have too much spare time and he's in the need of a good optometrist.
Kefu has 48 hours to lodge an appeal, and the Wallaby camp is now scrambling to build a case. And while the Kefu controversy is set to continue, the Wallabies have arrived in Limerick for Thursday's pool match against the United States. Veteran Jason Little will captain the side for the first time, while replacement prop Rod Moore and winger Scott Steneforth will make their test debuts. Damien Ryan for Nightline.
Just getting a start in Saturday's Caulfield Cup has left some leading connections at a loss. The exclusion of 3 runners in today's announcement of the field created a storm.
The weather turned ugly at Caulfield for Thousand Guineas Day, and after the field was announced at another dramatic Caulfield Cup media conference, so did the mood of some.
How do they pick which horse doesn't deserve to get a run, though?
I don't know. Do you?
No.
A massive oversight had declared Lady Elsie and the Bart Cummings-trained Zaza Bell qualifiers, despite neither fulfilling the very first clause of qualification. It caught everyone by surprise.
Is that a new rule or an old rule?
No, that's it.
Oh, well, someone's missed that one.
Cliff Brown, Lady Elsie's trainer, had checked all was in place on Friday before his owners booked flights from Tasmania for the race.
You're sort of left with nowhere to run her now. The Moonee Valley Cup's the only option, and Geelong Cup closed yesterday, and I think if there was a doubt, they maybe could have let me know earlier and I could have gone in that race.
It all overshadowed the excitement of today's feature race, Jim Cassidy looking for the Guineas double on Shazoo.
Shazoo's ahead in front, Danglisser can't get there or not. No, Shazoo!
Shazoo started 12-1 and just held off the unlucky 13-4 favourite Danglisser, with 50-1 beat the fade third. For connections lucky enough to be part of Caulfield's $1.8 million cup, all that was left was tonight's barrier draw. And there was no harm done to the chances of 3-1 favourite Sky Heights. He drew barrier 11, but is likely to jump from gate 9 once the emergencies come out. Derby winner Arena has the work ahead, drawing 15. Lahar's nicely placed in 4, while Lee Freedman's Miss Danehill was unluckiest, plucking 21. Anthony Mithen for Nightline.
A bad race fall at Randwick today involving jockeys Len Beasley, Kevin Moses and Craig Carmody.
Last. Oh, Onyx Zone's come down. Dashing Scene's come right over the top. A terrible fall.
Riding favourite Dashing Scene, Moses was most seriously hurt, taken to hospital with suspected head and shoulder injuries. Carmody and Beasley were treated at the track. Supporters of North Sydney's battle to remain a standalone team in next year's rugby league competition say they've secured a benefactor to bail the club out of its $4 million debt. Further details on their mystery saviour will be released tomorrow. Meanwhile, Australia's Tri-Nations squad is in New Zealand ahead of Friday night's test, where 7 Australians will make their international debut. An Australian force preparing to take on enemy number 1.
The rivalry is now that the Australia-New Zealand is probably a bigger rivalry than Australia-England.
A challenge for the 7 rookies in his squad and a test for the untried centre combination of Matthew Gidley and Russell Richardson.
I can be a little bit overawed with the fact they got the Australian jumper on, but we just had to talk then about they just got to have the same approach and the same preparation as they do for their club games.
It's the richest golf tournament in the country, and some of the biggest names in the game want a slice of it. Ernie Els, Craig Parry and Greg Norman have confirmed they'll be in Perth in January for the $1.6 million Heineken Classic.
I've played with him once before at his tournament in Sydney, and that was a great experience, and I'm sure that this will be too.
Back on court and through to the second round of the Singapore Open, Mark Philippoussis says he's fit and well, having undergone knee surgery after Wimbledon. But still, he won't commit to Australia's Davis Cup squad for December's final against France.
The most important goal for me is, stay healthy, and I'm hitting the ball well, I'm feeling good, so, see what happens.
Basketball legend Wilt Chamberlain has died at the age of 63. Paramedics called to his home in Los Angeles following reports of a cardiac arrest. In his golden days on the court in the 60s and 70s, Wilt the Stilt created history, shooting 100 points in a single game, taking 55 rebounds in another. Towering over 7 foot, Chamberlain shares honour with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the only two players to score more than 30,000 career points. Chamberlain's other great conquest, proudly revealed in his biography, his sexual encounters with thousands of women. And that is our sports report for tonight, Jim.
Thousands?
So
Still to come on Nightline, the latest finance and the weather. To finance, and the Australian share market followed Wall Street sharply lower today, the All Ords closing 27 points down. In Tokyo, the Nikkei fell 336 points. In London tonight, the FT100 68 points down in morning trading. Gold is fetching $323.25 US an ounce. And in European trading tonight, the Australian dollar is buying 65.74 US cents, almost 61 euro cents, just under 71 yen and 39.7p. The national weather, and a band of cloud covers most of eastern Australia, with a cold front moving into the southeast. Lows dominate much of the remainder of the continent, while another front is crossing the west coast. The forecasts: a late storm for Darwin, rain developing in Brisbane, showers for Sydney and Canberra, but clearing in Melbourne, fine for Hobart and Adelaide, and in Perth, some showers tomorrow. That's the news this Wednesday night from all of us here at Nightline. Good night.